for vintage and usually dead.
Yes.
Right.
Mostly vintage. I mean, you would know more about this than me. I mean, the prices for the huge prices being gotten for
there's a lot of younger photographers making a living off of selling prints, basically. And some of them may also have teaching gigs, although those are drying up, or transforming into multimedia teaching, etc. But there's certainly a lot more people out there now supporting themselves off their work through print sales than ever before.
How are they selling?
Mostly through galleries. Mostly they're selling through galleries. A few of them may be managing some sales off the internet. You know, there is this one guy, well, he's an anomaly. You probably saw the show, and I continually forget his name, but he photographs himself swimming with whales, and then he did this big installation down on the piers here.
Oh, yeah.
Contain wild animals, endangered species. Does anybody know his name?
Peter Lynn.
Yeah, and anyhow, but he's developed a whole product line.
Yeah,
he's really,
that's
I mean, I'm not excited by the work, but as a kind of model of what a lot of people
Who's
are
got a
looking
million
at.
sponsors? High expensive sponsors that pay for all that.
He has, but he's done it in a very business savvy way that I think is very antithetical to the mindset of, I think, just about everybody at this table, at least, and we all grew up with the fantasy that someone repeated this to me the other night at a different lecture. You know, in Philadelphia, they were saying, "Well, aren't you just supposed to do your work, and somebody else makes all these business arrangements for you, and runs your contracts, and finds your clients, and finds your partners?" And I said, basically, in your dreams, pal. You know, I mean, how many people here have effective agency? You're on staff somewhere. You got the Times behind you. How many people here have effective agency representation?
Well, I got an agency, but they've survived only because they focused in, they went into medical, and so they're able to survive that way, because the pictures that they were selling before, they're selling for, they were showing me the photographs in magazines that this was sold for $5, that was sold for $3. It's kind of unbelievable, you know, and people are willing to give their photographs away just to be published.
Yeah, and picture editors now are doing something called crowdsourcing, which is basically you go someplace like Flickr. You know, you need a photograph of a rose, or you need a photograph of a loaf of bread, or whatever. You go to someplace like Flickr, and there are people up there with pictures, and they'll license them to you for $1 or $3 or $10 or $25. And why are you going to go to any of these guys and pay, I don't know what, $150, $200
Resale.
For that license?
Almost all of my pictures,
you know,
that sell are resale.
When you can get a perfectly acceptable picture of a loaf of bread for $5. So that, I mean, that's crippled the the photo agencies. Stock photography, and I'm sure all of you at some point were making money out of stock, and then just plummeted.
Okay, another question.
Yeah, it's probably true that the proliferation of imagery in the digital world today has lessened the intrinsic value of photographs, but as bearers of information about the world, in our time and place, I don't think it's ever been better. Images are going everywhere. Editing and self-development of photographers who are editing large volumes of work, perception, seeing what you're getting, making it come through you, and then changing your technique, readjusting everything. I think it's a glorious time. I think photography's never been better.
I'd have to agree that that's the opposite side of the argument that we're talking about here, you know, which is that a certain kind of value or potency and power of an individual image is diminished, but the ability to make images and distribute them has never been more available. I mean, we've all paid lip service to the democratization of photography. But the fact of the matter is, this is the first time in the history of the world that just about everybody, as Harvey was saying, walks out of their house carrying a camera.
It's always been a democratic art. In today's world, photography is even more democratic.
Yeah, but in some ways it's not democratic when most people don't have cameras, right? I mean, that I don't mean to say that's elitist, but it's not necessarily democratic or egalitarian. But once everybody's carrying a camera, then the medium is really in the hands of the general population.
Right.
And that's where we are as a result of this very technology that's causing these other problems for professionals.
But just because you can
Well, we have a question
take
right here.
doesn't-
I'm sorry, this young lady had her hand up first, so I'm going to recognize you.
Excuse me. I wanted to get back to your original question of the panel about the value and need for galleries. There really, I think as a professional photographer, we need more galleries like this because everyone, even though you might have a website, there is nothing like seeing someone's handmade, or if it has to be digitally printed, image of a body of work on a wall, beautifully matted and framed. And there is no other place. Is there in New York City? And so that was your original question, wasn't it? Why, is there a need for it? I personally think there is. Because if there's a glut of photographers out there, you can look at it on the web, but wouldn't each one of those photographers like to be on a wall in a prestigious gallery and have people come and have an A.T. Coleman do a review of their work, whether it's, good work or not? I feel there's a need for more galleries. Why aren't there more photography cooperatives, collectives, bringing people together, sharing work? I think there is a desperate need for what started out 40 years ago and became destroyed, and part of what's destroying that are magazines like People and Us with the paparazzi, and they're among the highest paid photographers in the world for a shot of somebody just giving birth or pregnant or whatever. I mean, those are interesting photographs, but what about people who are poets with the camera, who are artistic, who are trying to make a statement, who have captured a body of work that they want to share and show people really an aspect of life that you're not going to see on television or on the web?
We have time for one more question.
Yeah, I would just say I absolutely agree. As a critic, I don't particularly care to look at pictures on the web. I mean, unless the pictures are digital images that are meant to be seen in digital form, and there is such work, and I think we're going to start seeing more such work. But when the photographer is to some extent a thing maker, an object maker, I want to see the thing. I want to be in front of that print, or at least the photographer's approved reproduction of that print in a book, or something like that.
So why aren't there more places like this?
Because you can't get 2,500 feet for $400 a month.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. No more 500 a month.
One more question? Okay.
We talked a lot about the craft of photography, and nowadays so many images that we see are captured digitally, manipulated with Photoshop, printed on a big Epson printer by photographers who have never been in a darkroom. Do you think that the public viewing an image, or photographer who's creating that image, is lost something by not having had his hands in Dettol and done the whole process that we've done before he produces his beautiful Epson print? Is there a disadvantage by not having worked in that darkroom?
No.
I think so.
Really?
I think
If
so.
I were starting out today, I would start with digital, and I wouldn't do darkroom, and I wouldn't know what I would be missing, number one. I think you can get beautiful digital prints with digital printers, and you don't need the darkroom.
There are beautiful papers for digital now,
Absolutely.
and they feel like rag paper,
And if it's behind glass, you can hardly tell the difference.
And they don't even streak when they get wet.
I'll be in the darkroom tomorrow from 9 to 9. I mean, I love the darkroom, and I still print. I have my own darkroom. But again, if I were starting anew, it's like I wouldn't move to Manhattan. I'd live in Brooklyn. I would not do darkroom work. I don't think. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I think it helps me do Photoshop a little better. But if I don't have the darkroom experience, I don't think I'm losing money. You feel the same?
Oh, yeah, it's a new era, it's a new world. And
Sad to say.
I don't know if you've taken a close look at this work, but I have a confession to make.
It's a bit.
Those are machine prints made on Fuji Frontier. And to me, they're just fine. I was never a great printer. Joe Portagallo, bless his heart, was the finest printer I know, but he ain't around. And I have a master Photoshop computer wizard. If I can't solve an issue in Photoshop and Lightroom, I give him to Wojtek, the guy down the street in Chapel Hill, who's a wizard. And he'll help me get the layers just right. And then I send them to Fuji Frontier or to Wojtek. He makes the prints. My hands are no good. All I can do is see and capture. I can't do the rest. That's me. Not like Harvey or you all.
I think whatever works is the way.
Whatever
The final
works.
result, it's wonderful.
That's why mine are only $100.
You say
But
it's
these are open edition. These are open edition. My edition prints is $750.
I mean, there are kids today who don't know what film is. I mean, 5-year-olds don't know what film is. They've never seen film. Was it already in what? And they probably never will. So I think it's just a reality. And you can regret what was, but that was. And
Well, they'll intentionally make a mess of it with a Holga or a Diana or something like that.
right, some of them do. But it is considered, as you pointed out, an alternative process.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I met some journalism students at Columbia, and when you talked about slides, they said, what are slides?
No.
They're studying journalism at Columbia.
God, but look how easy it is these days. I mean, I digital schmidigital. I picked up a camera, it was digital instead of film. I used it like a camera, it worked. I don't know what all the fuss, I mean, it's like, the point is to have a great image, and there's not that many of them. And the thing I love about the internet is you can see all kinds of weird stuff, and there's always funny dogs and cats. And anything with dogs and cats, oranges up there, elephants. But I mean, what does it matter? The technique is the image that counts. People seem to forget that. And the idea is to try to do something that a million other people aren't doing, and that's the challenge. And a lot of people are just lazy, and the whole technology business is a lot of cockblocker. It's
Okay.
do it this way or that.